Alrighty. We are back with another state test prep video. Today we're talking about standards 7.G.5. The fifth geometry standard. This one mainly about angles. So let's get into it. A figure is shown where lines CE and FD intersect at point B. Angle ABC is complementary to angle DBC. So remember, when you read angles, right, you start at one of the points, the middle, you start at one of the letters, at the first letter. The middle letter represents your vertex. That's where the angle like bends or starts. And you end at the third letter. So A, B, C is complementary to angle D, B, C. What does complementary mean? Complementary means that the angles add to 90 degrees. This is right there along with supplementary. Well, they add to 180. So the two angles here in ABC and DBC will add to 90 degrees. So before we do anything else, let's think about what this means. The measure of angle ABC is 20 degrees. That means that the measure of angle DBC is equal to 90 minus 20 degrees, which is 70. Okay? So this is now 70 degrees. Huzzah, we've done it. The question now asks, what is the measure in degrees of angle EBF? And here's where you have to look at something. Okay? If you have a line like this, right, there are relationships between these lines. And one of the relationships is the relationship between these two. These are what's called vertical angles. These would also be vertical angles. I'm going to put two lines so that you know that they're not the same. Vertical angles are essentially across from each other at the crossing of a line. Vertical angles have equal measure. So if this were, say, 70, then this would be 70. So since this is 70, this is also 70, so therefore the answer is 70. Let's go to question 2. Lines AD and BE intersect at point C as shown. Create an expression that represents the measure of angle DCE, so this in terms of x. So when you look at how this is set up, right, you see that this angle BCD and angle DCE are two parts of a straight line. Okay, right here is two parts of a straight line. A straight line, or a straight angle, is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, that makes these two angles supplementary. So if this angle is x, then that means that this angle has to be whatever is left over after you have 180 minus x. So all you're doing is you're writing 180 minus x. And that's it. Let's go to question 3. A figure is shown. Here's a bunch of angles. What is the value in degrees of x? This is meant to trick you. This is mean. Because this looks so much like a right angle, but it's not. These two are not complementary, because in order for these two to be complementary, this would have to be exactly 90 degrees, which it's not. These two aren't complementary. These three are supplementary because they're part of a straight line, which, as we just said, is 180 degrees. So you're allowed a calculator for this question, so all you're going to do is you're going to do 180 minus 92.7 minus 43. Put that right into the calculator. 180 minus 43 minus 92.7. 44.3. Done. All right. Regular hexagon. PQRSTU is shown. The center of the hexagon is O. What is the measure of angle NOQ? Okay. So, what a regular shape means is that if you go from point to point, for example, Q to T, P to S, U to R, and you draw all these intersecting lines, their angles in the middle will all be the same. So, this is a straight line. That means that all this has an angle of 180 degrees. If you were to split this into 3 equal parts, 180 divided by 3 gives you 60. So this is 60, this is 60, this is 60, and that would make this 60 as well. Now, here's the trick. The trick is that they want you to think that this would also be 60, but it's not. And why is that? Because the line that is making this angle is not coming from point P, it's coming from N. N is not at one of the corners. So what you have to put in your mind is that if this whole thing is 180 degrees, you have 60 accounted for here, and you have 90 accounted for here. That box means it's a right angle, which means it's 90 degrees. So you have 180 minus 60 minus 90. So 18 minus 6 is 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. That leaves 30 remaining. They want you to put 60. And it would be 60 if this line was here. If this line was here, it would be 60. But because it is not, and it is here, it is not 60. It is 30. All right. So here we go. Oh my goodness, I haven't looked at this question before. I'm going to pay for that right now. A figure containing line CE is shown. What is the value of x? All right. So let's think about what we know. This box means that is a right angle. right angle is 90 degrees. Okay? So we know, therefore, that angle BOC and angle COD are complementary, meaning that they add up to 90 degrees. So knowing that information and knowing that COD is 40, that means that we can find BOC by doing 90 minus 40, which is 50. So we know that angle BOC is 50 degrees. Now, we also know that this is a right angle. This is 90 degrees. And we know that this forms a straight line from C to E, meaning that this entire thing, this all-encompassing thing, is 180. Because it's a straight line, it's a straight angle. So we just have to add all this up. So we have 50 plus 90. What's 50 plus 90? 50 plus 90 makes 140. Okay? Or we can just subtract it all out at the same time. 50 plus 90 makes 140. And 180 minus 140 is 40. Or you could have just done 180 minus 90 minus 50. And that gives you 40. So we now know the measure of angle BOA is 40 degrees. But that's not what the question's asking. The question is asking what is the value of x. So for x, which is the measure of this angle, equals 40 degrees, which is also the measure of this angle, then we have to solve for x. And if you're confused on how you solve for x like this, I would recommend looking at one of the equations and expressions videos. I think it might be 7.E.2 or 7.E.3 where I really get into how to solve equations. But for the sake of time, I'm going to assume you know that from here, you would have to divide by 4 on both sides to clear it. And you would get x equals 10. So it is 10. All right. Question 6. A figure is shown. Create an equation that can be used to find the value of x. So, just like I said a couple questions ago, when you have a situation like this, a line crossing like this, these are vertical angles. Vertical angles are the same measure. Okay? So, if they are the same, that means they are equal. So that would mean that 3x equals 72. And you don't have to go any farther than that. Because all this says is create an equation. An equation has an equal sign. Huzzah. That can be used to find the value of x. It doesn't say create an equation and find the value of x. It says create an equation that you can use to find the value of x. You can use this to find the value of x. So you're done. That's it. Don't touch it. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. If you have any other questions, please, as always, let me know. And thank you for watching.